Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War Nintendo Switch Mysterious Fathoms Below event, in which the Mantis Shrimp is added to the game. Main reason I haven't been covering most of the other Nintendo Switch events is I have covered every single one of them in the past on, of course, the PC version of the game, so for any of them, you can simply just search them on the channel. However, this one specific event, ironically, given that it's an underwater kingdom, happened last hurricane season, and I was not around due to the hurricane that hit my area at the time, so I was never able to record this, like 9 months back when this event happened on PC Mobile and all the other versions. So I figured now would be a good time to go do that, and yeah, we're covering that right now. So, I believe this is actually the first one we bothered covering specifically on this Nintendo Switch account. Of course, I've still been playing it. Haven't really been covering much content on it, though, but might as well start now. So, of course, we have the Mantis Shrimp this week. As far as its trait stone, red-blue, mainly we just want to get a Merline up. It has a good impervious, has a good double silence on it. As far as this troop itself, not really going to be used much. It's just a standard true damage troop. It deals some damage to an enemy, knocks them to the back, and submerge self. Nothing really too special. A relatively high mana cost for what it does, and not really something you're going to use. It's also an epic, so its trait stones, or its traits are rather pricey to be able to get up in, even though you can get all the trait stones off of the, or at least the most annoying one of the arcane, off of simply buying this thing up. It's still not really worth getting, as there's almost no context you would use it in other than trying to use it this week for the rest of this week for +5 glory. As far as other things that we have throughout the rest of this week, we have a 10% bonus to all the Mystics, as well as a 10% to all of the Merfolk. As I mentioned, if you end up using the Mantis Shrimp in PvP, and I will be showing a team for that, you will end up getting 5 glory, and this does stack with the normal glory that you would be getting, as well as the +1 glory. So if you're using something like Titan Hero class or anything else that happens to have that perk, you can set that to +1 glory, and be getting an additional glory that stacks with that 5, that also stacks with whatever other bonuses you're getting from the battle, like revenges and just the base value of the PvP battle for how much glory it gives. And as far as the event objective, all you have to do is kill things in PvP or explore. Explore would be one of the easiest ways to get this done. A kingdom like Stormheim can be done relatively quick. You just go over here. Generally will have a high amount of blues. Of course, it wants to prove me wrong by only having 1 blue here, but generally it's going to have a lot of blues. You just run some kind of early game or mid game quick team for it. We still don't have Leprechaun or anything on Nintendo Switch, so we kind of have to go with something like this. This will end up working if you have to double cast. Normally you might see me on my main account using only 1 Sunbird and really no other damage source. However, when you're earlier on in the game and you don't have as many kingdom upgrades, you generally have to go with a double damage source and just cast both of them once. So that's basically what this is. We can use our hero class in order to gain hero XP on it, though I personally just always use Titan on this, because Titan's still the only particularly relevant hero class currently on the Nintendo Switch version. Sunbird is just something you easily get off of glory and gem keys, and it's just a really solid damage source. Rowan you get for free from completing out the Forest of Thorns kingdom, and the Firebomb's the easy common that you can get off of gold keys, and you do need that specifically to be fully traded, ideally to Sunbird too, but both of them are low enough rarity that it won't really cost you that much to be able to get them up. But general premise of this team, like similar concepts, is you simply just throw down the Firebomb immediately. That'll get our explosion down, and we then go for all of our mana. We actually got a really small amount of mana from that right there, but we'll get that right back up. Hopefully that Sunbird will be enough, and then we just kill it from there, and that is that. And you just keep repeating. Ideally, you'll end up getting enough mana that you Sunbird once, for Wayne once, and then you just win from there. As you can see, we get the 1 event gem, and you can keep doing it, and this kingdom will generally have one of the higher amounts of blues, and you can probably get that done in about an hour or 2 just from grinding that out over and over and over again. As far as the event keys this week, we do have a new troop that ended up coming in, Nimue. I will be showing a team for her. I already opened these, so I won't be opening anymore, as just getting 1 copy of her is pretty much all you would need to do. Personally, I wouldn't even say the drop table is that bad, or I mean that good this week. It's probably one of those weeks that you might want to skip, just because nothing is particularly over the top, assuming the biggest thing that's really from this kingdom is Merline and Azura, both of which you could easily obtain. Azura is for free just from completing out Merlantis Kingdom, and you probably have the Merline sitting around that you'll be able to use just from the keys that you have randomly opened. Other than that, the guild event is just Guild Wars this week. You simply just set your, as far as how Guild Wars normally works, you have to try using as much as the same color for your battles per day. So for every single one of these actual battles, you can see that it has a color right up there. Right there, it's saying purple. So we have to go and use that color for as much as we can in every single one of these battles in order to maximize our points. Other than that, for your defense, the main thing you really need to know with this is they can be whatever color you want. However, you need to make sure that every single one of them is as unique as possible in order to get the full 2,000 extra points per day. So basically, you want to make sure that not a single one of these teams have any troops repeating, while still trying to make them as strong as possible. However, the most important thing is that none of these are repeating, as you basically get a free 12,000 points every single week for making sure every single one of those are unique in your Guild Wars. Other than that, as far as events, of course, this week is almost over. However, there's some interesting things coming up. Of course, we have Tuesday faction events starting now. That's happened a couple weeks ago. We ended up starting to get that rotating around, but that will start happening, or keep happening, every Tuesday here forth. Just a faction that keeps going in order of All-Seeing Eye, then the Hall of Guardians, then Crypt, and it just keeps repeating over and over again until Primal comes out in a couple weeks, and then so on and so forth with every single new faction, just constantly repeating through that cycle. This Wednesday, we're going to be getting the 4th of July pets. It's fully cosmetic. There are pets that are just completely cosmetic. I believe this is the first cosmetic-only pet coming to Nintendo Switch. However, there are some that will come over time, and they're mainly just to collect for the purpose of having them and to look cute on your shoulder. They don't really do anything other than just give you like those few gems from leveling them and feeding them, but they have no direct effect on any of your battles. This following Thursday is going to be a class event for Titan. You might want to go and make sure to do that if you don't already have your Titan Max. This Titan is the strongest hero class in the entire game on Nintendo Switch. Well, that's also just in general, literally any version of the game you're on, Titan is the strongest hero class, but it's pretty much the only relevant class on Switch, so definitely make sure to go and do that. And of course, we have Bounty Hunter this week. Bounty Hunter, you basically just want to use as many bounty troops in your team as you possibly can, with as high of rarity you can, and you want to use whatever the bounty captain is if you happen to buy it off of the reward packs. In this case this week, it is the mermaid that we have over there. But anyways, let's go over now to the Soul Forge, which I forgot to do over here. There is one extremely relevant thing in the Soul Forge, and then we'll start getting around to various teams. But the main thing worth crafting this week in Soul Forge is Ferris Ra. He is a really good first craft. I crafted it as my first mythic on this account as well. It has the highest soul gain in the entire game at 150% once you get it fully traded. And of course, if you don't specifically have the trait stones, you can simply just trait its first trait and then use 2 orange orbs on it, or simply use 1 major orange on it, and it will simply get all of its traits that way. I believe I just ended up using a major orange, as this was a lot more convenient doing it that way. But yeah, he's most noteworthy for his 150% soul gain, which exponentially increases the rate at which you can farm souls. Great for trying to get Dawnbringer, great for just trying to get your soul value up in general. Just even having one of him can increase your soul rate to about 30,000 per hour, if not more, so great to have one. As far as his ability itself, it's rather lackluster. It ends up transforming all yellow gems to purple, and then deals a bunch of damage to an enemy, and that's boosted based on souls, and then gives 20 souls, which is half the full capacity of the souls per the battle, since you only end up needing 40. And with his bonus, that would end up increasing it all the way to 100, which would technically make it go all the way to 50, which would be the halfway point of that. But yeah, it's a brown, purple, blue. Ends up working pretty well with Road Breaker if you happen to have gotten that laying around. Pretty good with Mountain Crusher as well as defeated. Insanely good with Dragon Soul. Dragon Soul Ferris Rock combo is one of the major combo that it gets used for, since you'll end up getting all of your souls from it while still getting the damage and then poke it out with kills. And is also decently good with like a Titan using a Dark Troll, followed by Ferris Ra in the team and one other option. So there's several things that you can use it for. One of the main things and the best soul farming team in the entire game, one of the biggest methods if you do happen to get your hands on a Ferris Ra, if you happen to have the diamonds for it. As far as diamonds, for any of you that don't know, you do get diamonds from doing dungeons, and apparently, oh yeah, I did my dungeons yesterday. I forgot that they already moved over to next day. But you get diamonds from doing stuff like dungeons. Doing these every single day is one of the main ways you get it. You could also get it from your guild from doing various guild tasks. But just shipping on those every single day is what slowly gets your diamonds amount up, and you'd mainly want to save it for a mythic, like something like Ferris Ra whenever it rolls around. But anyways, the most meta thing if you do end up getting a Ferris Ra in your hands is to go to First Challenge Divinian Fields. There's a few other challenges you could do it on too, but First Challenge Divinian Fields is probably one of the more noteworthy ones. You then get yourself a soul farming team like this. There's a couple different ways to roll this team. The Dragon Soul is somewhat required for it. It's a legend that you can find in Glory Gem and Guild chests, as well as VIP chests if you happen to have them unlocked. But basically, it's Dragon Soul. This ends up doing a bunch of explosions and a static 11 damage, plus more per every dragon on your team, but this team only runs with 1 dragon. But it's going to be doing 11 damage per thing. You see, I just raised it to Warlord 2 difficulty. This is because it gives a 75% soul gain, which is just more souls. And Dragon Soul, regardless of what point you are in the game, even if you're only at level 100, 200, no kingdom upgrades, all the kingdom upgrades, it doesn't matter. You will always do 11 damage, and with 11 damage, it will triple shot Warlord 2 difficulty, which will reach the max capacity of souls. And then you run your Ferris Ra. Obviously, I did get lucky enough to get 2 Ferris Ras. Ferris Ras is one of those mythics that if you accidentally get another copy of it, like I did, it's actually a good thing, not a bad thing. If you don't happen to have a second Ferris Ra, as that is probably pretty rare, you'd most likely want to go for anything else that has Necromancy. Azurus would be your most optimal, but Azurus isn't epic, so it's a little bit more expensive. The cheapest option you can go for instead, even if you don't own either of these Ferris Ras, is to replace them with Warlock. Warlock is a rare that has Necromancy on the first trait that it has. It's the absolute cheapest Necromancy in the game, and you can end up putting that there. I have Umberwolf here. He's a legend. The main reason he's used is fully traded. He has Perpetual Darkstorm for the entire battle. If you do not have him, or if you don't have the trait stones to trade him, you can simply just go with any hero class that has a Purple Storm at start of battle. You could also probably get away with a Red Storm, though Purple Storm is generally the way to go. And yeah, you just do this, and you can end up farming a lot of souls. I believe on this account, with all the bonuses it currently has, it is a little over 500 souls per battle, which is definitely not that bad. It can cycle through battles in about, I want to say, 30 to 40 seconds, give or take a little bit. Really just depends how lucky it gets with cascades and just the board in general. But all you have to do here is just cast Dragon Soul 3 times, which is why we have it on Warlord 2 difficulty. 3 casts will always kill it because of its stat line always being exactly the same. And as you'll see here, that battle took like, what, 30, 40 seconds? Somewhere around there, and we ended up getting 533 souls among the other small little bit of other resources. But of course, the main reason we're doing this is for souls. Yeah, that's the power of a Ferris Ra, or 2 Ferris Ras in that case. The 1 Ferris Ra, similar premise, just slightly less soul gain out of it per battle. But anyways, that's that. Let's go over some other teams now. So, did I show the Explore one? Yes, I showed the Explore one. So, the other thing that I wanted to show was the +5 Glory and 1 Nimue team. So, let's show the +1 or +5 Glory first. Whenever you see easy battles like 4 times Fire Bombs or people like half your rating or less, what you can end up doing is switching to a +5 Glory team, or whatever the event bonus might be for the week. So we're going to do something like this. Basically, the premise that you want to do is build the strongest team that you can with the event troop. This I built a little bit more into a mid-range team. I probably would have built into something like Wardbreaker, but a lot of people might not have Wardbreaker, though Yagwe's a little bit lower in rarity and something that you do want to try to get your hands on. Really great for Bounty Hunter as well when you need to switch to 3 bounty troops with Yagwe. You can still use that Pharaoh Hound and the Yagwe combo if you need that for Bounty Hunter this week, for this weekend. But yeah, he's a really good troop to just have around. You see him in Soulforge again if you still don't have him, definitely something to go and focus down. Flame of Fur, if you don't have this was available a couple weeks ago on Nintendo Switch, actually at this point almost about a month ago. However, if you don't have it, Urska Crown from the Urskea Kingdom is a decent enough equivalent. It's almost the same thing, just slightly less effective. And Tapon's here just for its empowered transform all brown to red in order to ideally feed Yagwe. So you may notice this is +6 Glory. Of course, the Mantis itself for this event for the rest of this weekend until the Monday reset is giving +5 Glory. However, we can actually get even more from that by going on to Edit Team and switching our hero to, not that, if I can figure out how to click correctly on the Nintendo Switch version. Click on Class, and I'll get it eventually. And then we go and click over to the +1 Glory that we get off of Titan. There's a few other hero classes that have it, like Warlord and stuff, but Titan's the most relevant one that has it off of its level 20 perk thing. And now we'll end up getting 6 Glory on top of what we're already gaining, so that'll be a total of 9 Glory just for doing this ridiculously easy battle. And all we'll have to do is just double Yagwe him, and that should be enough to kill in this particular instance. So ideally we'll have a good starting board. Good enough. Let's go for it. So we'll do that. Luckily extra turned, I'm doing it regardless. Should hopefully be enough mana. And as you can see, he's already dead, and we just got 9 Glory within seconds. Obviously, they don't always go that quick, but the general premise is you only use them on weak battles so that you can get that Glory in a quick rate. But yeah, there we go. We end up getting 9 Glory in like 10 seconds, it felt like. But that's basically what you do it for. You obviously wouldn't do it on harder battles if you try doing it against like the meta. Actually, that one's not that meta, but if you do it against harder stuff, not really as advised. But if you do it against like 4 times Firebomb, really low rarity troops like, or you know, things that are half your team score and less, stuff like that is generally what you want to target down. Anything that's going to be super easy to end up getting the quick kill on. And ironically, this one's going to take even longer battle, despite him being 4 times Firebomb. Guess we just got such a lucky start on the previous one that it just kind of worked out. And after this, I'll go show the Nimue team. Nimue is a legend that is rather underwhelming for the most part. I know on the main version of the game, which is every other version except for Nintendo Switch, or it's not that Nintendo Switch isn't the main version, it's a little bit outdated. And the way that Nintendo Switch is, they can't update it as often, though it should be getting its first update very soon. For any of you that are wondering like where all the updates are, like it still has like the Monday events and stuff, but it hasn't had like an actual update yet, like a version number or anything like that. But anyways, can we actually take this out with a Nimue team? Probably not. Let's try. But anyways, let me go show a Nimue team. This is more of a low mid-range level Nimue. I didn't use like extremely expensive stuff because if I put like a ward breaker on this team or something like that, yeah, most people wouldn't have that. I know I only have like 1/4 or almost a third of the mythics in the game, probably more towards a fourth. So I'm not going to mention any mythic specifically in these teams, as a lot of people on Nintendo Switch might not even have their first mythic yet, let alone multiple. But if you happen to have opened event keys this week and end up getting a Nimue, these are two slightly lower rarity alternatives, or two things to put with it, just with a Mountain Crusher up front. Devoted is a rare. The main premise of this is it can create 7 gems of a chosen type, but unlike some things, this can actually target Doom Skulls and Skulls. The only things that can really do this, if I'm not mistaken, is the Devoted, as well as the Guardian Troops. The Guardian Troops being things like Honor, Courage, and things like those. Humility, the ones that you get from those seal keys that you end up getting every single week from your guild. But those 6 and the Devoted, I believe, are the only ones. There might be something else, but it can actually specifically target Skulls and Doom Skulls. And so if there's a Doom Skull on the board, you generally want to do that, and then boom, you get to create 7 Doom Skulls. Dark Troll we basically have here for free soul gains, but mostly for the fact that it ends up doubling the purple, which will fill into Nimue very easily. And Nimue's whole premise is she converts all red to purple, but on top of that, she also gets to convert all yellow into Skulls, which is what most of the damage from this team is coming from. And I'm using Titan in first slot. This will end up giving us a lot of extra damage because we can set it to Enrage. Once you have it to level 70 on the hero class, ends up gaining Enrage every single extra turn, has a bunch of immunities, has Barrier every brown, has a lot of stuff that ends up making it work out pretty well. So we might actually lose this battle just because he is using a somewhat okay team. However, one nice side effect that Nimue's ability does have is a double silence, so hopefully we'll be able to utilize that. If it ends up hitting Divinia, we should be fine. The biggest issue is if her double silence does not hit Divinia, because in that case, we have a bit of a problem. Also, you may notice that our Dark Troll already has full mana. That's mainly because, of course, Titan Hero class gives all Giants 50% mana start. In most battles, it feels like it's only giving your hero that 50%, but of course, you are allowed to use any Giants and also gain that benefit, and the Dark Troll does, of course, count as a Giant. So it does end up getting that half mana start, which makes this team go a little bit of a quicker start on it. So right here, we're mainly just trying to get Nimue to full mana, starting to get that rolling so we can actually use it. Try and take every single one of these drops so we can kind of get the board rolling. Do we go for this? I guess so, because we can just double it again and just kind of go from there and hopefully get some Skulls going. Trying to get a Doom Skull on the board so we can kind of go for that. Doesn't look like we can get it currently. Hopefully we can get alignment on that. Okay, that works too. Let's see. Anything here? I guess we go for a double. Generally, once this team gets going, you can kind of just keep controlling the board, ideally. It's not the most optimal things to be using, but if you happen to have one laying around, this is a rather cheap team that you can end up putting it into. So right here, we don't have too much of an option. I think we're just going to double again. Actually, I'm just going to go for a board clear here. Don't even have anything that I can really do with that. Other troops devoted. This time, no, don't deny all the Doom Skulls. I need those Doom Skulls. Okay, we might just need to convert again. We'll have alignment right there off the extra turn, so I'm going to go for that on the Nimue, even though we don't get too much out of the Skulls. So it does cascade a little bit, so I guess that's fine. I could risk it with the Devoted here. Feels like we're not using her at all. Fine, we'll risk it. There we go. Good, it did land. We didn't really have to do that. I should have probably done it safely, but we didn't really get to use her, so might as well throw her in at least once. So we'll do that. Double the purples again. Hopefully land that so we just get our extra turn. Hopefully we'll have a better board to use this on. Board still seems bad, so we'll probably just clear it out again with the Mountain Crusher there. And that should pretty much be match, unless it just gets a billion Skulls here. It is silenced, so it can't end up gaining any mana. Basically, what silence does is it prevents them from gaining any mana for its duration, as well as they can't cast their ability. And that should be dead between the Enrage and the fact that it was still our turn. And yeah, as simple as that as far as getting that down. And that's basically what a Nimue team looks like, or a version of a Nimue team. And did I have another team? I think I had one more. Oh, no, never mind. I just had the +6 glory thing. And yeah, I guess that is pretty much everything that I wanted to show then for this. So if you guys still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below, particularly any Nintendo Switch people out there, because I have been feeling bad that I haven't been covering too much. Of course, I will be gone on my trip for this next week or so, but I do want to try covering some more Nintendo Switch stuff into the future, as I have been neglecting that platform. I wish it would just get up to date, but there is a good chance that Nintendo Switch will not be up to date anytime soon. But I've still been enjoying it personally. It's a lot of fun to be able to play it on the Nintendo Switch version compared to just being stuck on something like PC with it. But anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up for now. Leave any other questions below, and I will see all of you later. Goodbye, everyone, and thanks for watching.